chosen one. Yes, you. The one who felt something loosen in the chest a second ago, before you had a name for the reason. Before I say another word, give me a few small things. Sit down if you are not already sitting. If there is a door within reach, close it, and let the room get smaller and quieter and more yours. Turn your phone face down, screen against the table, so nothing can reach through it and pull at you while we talk. Let your shoulders come down from wherever they have been living, up around your ears. Unclench your jaw. You were holding it, and you didn't know you were holding it. And now, breathe out. Not the shallow breath you take 100 times an hour without noticing. The long one. The one that empties you all the way to the floor of your lungs, and then lets the next breath arrive on its own, without you deciding it. Good. That is the chosen one I came here for. Now stay close, because tonight is not built out of comfort you have already heard. Tonight is about someone who walked away from you and called the walking an upgrade. Someone who was certain the leaving was a step up and out into something brighter, something they were sure would fit them better than you ever did. So here it is, plainly, in the exact shape the words on the screen promised you. The one who left you for something better just watched it collapse without you. Every syllable of that is true, and we are going to sit inside every syllable before this night is over. But not yet. Because who they were, and what the something better actually was, and the precise way the whole thing came apart in their hands, I am holding all of that back on purpose, keeping it for later, when you are ready to hold it too. First, you have to understand the room. First, you have to understand the quiet you kept while all of it happened without you. For a long time, they thought they knew exactly what you were. That is the part I want you to feel before anything else. They did not leave you confused about your worth. They left you certain of it, certain the way a person is certain about furniture. They had decided you were the safe option, the reliable one, the steady one, and they said that word, steady, the way people say a word they have quietly grown tired of. Steady, dependable, always there, as if being always there were a flaw, as if the fact that you never wavered had become, somehow, the very reason you were easy to leave. They built the whole decision on that. The leaving, the timeline of it, the story they told themselves on the way out the door. All of it rested on one belief, and the belief was small enough to carry in a pocket. This one will always be fine. This one does not really need me. And so they went looking for something that felt like more. This is the season when that belief comes apart in their hands. It did not come apart loudly. That is what I need you to understand before we go any further, chosen one. It was not a scene. There was no phone call to you, no dramatic return, no letter. It happened at a distance, in rooms you were not standing in, and you may not even have the details yet. Maybe you heard something secondhand. Maybe a mutual friend went quiet in a way that told you more than words would have. Maybe you simply felt the weather shift, the way you always feel it, a half second before anyone confirms it out loud. But somewhere, the thing they chose over you stopped holding its shape. And here is what I need you to sit with tonight, because it is the whole reason I called you here. It did not collapse because of anything you did. You did not curse it. You did not wish it. You were not even watching most of the time. You were busy rebuilding a life, quietly, the way you rebuild everything, without an audience. It collapsed for its own reasons. It collapsed because the thing they traded you for was never actually the upgrade they announced. It only looked like one from the road, at speed, in the dark. So before we walk any deeper into this, chosen one, let me set one thing down where you can see it the whole way through. No, you were not the downgrade in that story. No, you were not the thing they outgrew. No, you were not too small, too slow, too plain, too safe. What they mistook for smallness in you was the one thing they could not manufacture anywhere else, and they are learning that now, in the worst possible way, by living without it. If any of this is already landing in the center of you, chosen one, do one small thing before we continue. Tap the like and subscribe if you are not already here. Not for me, I promise you this is not about the number. This message travels further when it moves, and somewhere out there tonight is a person sitting in the exact dark you were sitting in a while ago, replaying a leaving. Sure, they were the lesser thing. When you tap that, you hand this to them. That is the entire reason it exists. Pass it forward and let me keep talking. Now, let me take you into the rooms you were never allowed to see, one at a time, and show you what really happened while you were being brave somewhere else. The room where they let you go. Go back with me, gently, to the day it ended. Not to punish yourself with it, just to see it clearly, maybe for the first time, from the outside instead of from inside the wound. You remember it as a loss. Of course you do. It arrived as a loss. It had all the weight of one, the emptied side of the closet, the changed routines, the silence in the places that used to hold a second voice. But watch how they carried it out the door, because their posture tells you everything. They did not leave the way a person leaves something precious. They left the way a person leaves a place they have decided they have used up. Lightly, almost relieved, certain that the good part was ahead of them and the finished part was behind. They framed it as an upgrade, and they needed to. Nobody walks away from steadiness and calls it what it is. Nobody says out loud, I am leaving the calm because the calm bores me, and I would rather have the thrill even if the thrill has no floor under it. That is too honest and too frightening, and it would require them to admit the problem was appetite, not you. So instead, they built a story where you were the ceiling and the new thing was the sky, where you were the thing holding them back, and the leaving was them finally becoming who they were meant to be. Think of someone standing in a paid-off house at the end of a long, hard build. Every wall square, every door hung true. The kind of house that took years and cost them real winters to finish. And one gray morning they stand in the doorway of it, keys in hand, and they feel nothing but the flatness of the familiar. So they lock it and they leave it, convinced that the flat feeling is the house's fault and not the weather in their own chest. They drive off toward something with a better view, and they do not once consider that the flatness travels with the driver. They think they are leaving a house. They are leaving the only thing that was actually keeping the rain off them, and they will not understand that until the first real storm, standing somewhere with no roof at all. You were the house, chosen one, squarely built and quietly warm and taken completely for granted. And the day they walked out, they truly believed the flatness was you. Here's what they could not say out loud, not even to themselves on the way out. They were not trading up. They were trading known warmth for unknown weather and calling the gamble a graduation. So no, the room where they let you go was not a room where you were weighed and found wanting. You were not weighed at all. That is the quiet insult of it, and also, tonight, the quiet mercy. They did not measure you and choose against you. They failed to measure you, because a person cannot appraise what they have stopped looking at. You were not rejected on your merits, chosen one. You were overlooked on someone else's schedule, and there is a world of difference between those two things. And by the end of tonight, you are going to feel the whole width of that difference. What they made of your quiet. Now let me take you to the part that has been sitting under your ribs the longest. The silence afterward. Yours. Because you did not chase. That is the thing you have half wondered about ever since, in the low hours. When they left, you did not beg, did not blow up their phone, did not stage a return, did not make yourself into a spectacle to be won back. You went quiet. You closed a door of your own on your side, and you carried the grief privately, the way you carry everything, without making other people hold it for you. And you have wondered, in the dark, whether that quiet was a mistake. Whether if you had fought louder, made more noise, put up more of a scene, things might have gone another way. Chosen one, put that question down. It was never the question worth asking. Your quiet was not weakness, and it was not surrender. Your quiet was dignity moving at its own speed, and it did something you could not have engineered on purpose. Here is what your silence looked like from their side, though they would never frame it this way. When you did not chase, it broke the story they needed. The whole upgrade fantasy depended on you falling apart behind them. It needed you diminished, needed you smaller in your absence, so the leaving could keep looking like the right call. A person left behind who crumbles is proof the lever was the strong one. The main character, the sun, the smaller planet, was orbiting. That is the confirmation they were counting on, and you did not give it to them. You simply went still and stayed standing. No collapse to point at, no wreckage to justify the exit. Just a person who took the loss with both hands, absorbed it, and kept walking in a straight line. And that stillness, chosen one, was louder to them than any scene you could have made, though it took them a long time to hear it. Think of a lighthouse for a moment. It does not run down to the shore after the ships that sail past it. It does not shout, does not chase, does not follow a single vessel out into the dark, begging it to turn around. It holds its place on the rock, and it keeps its light. And the ships that leave, leave. But here is the thing about a lighthouse that no departing ship considers on the way out. It is the only fixed point on that entire coast. Everything else moves. The water, the weather, the other boats, the fog. The lighthouse alone stays exactly where it can be found. And a ship out in bad water at 3 a.m, taking on the storm it went looking for, will eventually turn its whole desperate attention back toward the one light that never moved. Not because the light chased it, because the light stayed. You were the light that stayed, chosen one. Your quiet was not you disappearing. It was you refusing to leave your own rock. They read that stillness as coldness at first, then as pride. Then, as the months turned, something shifted in how they read it, though they would never confess the shift to anyone. Your calm, Your refusal to chase began to look less like weakness and more like something they had not brought with them into the new thing. A person who does not chase is a person who does not need, and a person who does not need is a person who cannot be controlled by being left. Slowly, without wanting to, they began to understand they had walked away from the one steady surface in their entire life and had walked directly into water that would not hold still for anyone. Here is the sentence that will not leave their mouth, no matter how the pressure builds behind it. The one who did not fight for me was the only one who was ever actually there. So no, chosen one. Your quiet did not cost you the ending. Your quiet was the ending, done with grace, on your terms, in a language they were not ready to read yet. And now the room is about to thin out, and I want the right people to stay. Some of you wandered in here out of curiosity. You saw the words, felt a small tug, tapped the screen half by accident. There is nothing wrong with that, and no judgment in it. But right about now, the merely curious start to drift. They go hunting for the next thing, the next voice, the next quick feeling. Let them drift. This was never made to hold everyone, and it was never trying to. The ones this was built for are doing the opposite of drifting. You have gone still. You leaned in somewhere in the last few minutes without deciding to. Something in your chest got quiet. The specific kind of quiet that happens when a stranger describes the exact thought you have never said out loud to anyone. If that is you, chosen one, do this one thing. Go down into the comments and leave the number 999. Just that. Not for luck, not because it is trending, not because anyone made you. Leave it as a signal, plain and clear, that you are here all the way, that you intend to hear this to the last word. Think of it as a hand raised quietly in a full room. I will see it. Others sitting in this same dark tonight will see it, and they will know they are not the only one carrying this. And while you are down there, the like and the subscribe are what carry this to the next person who needs it before they fall asleep tonight. Here is what comes next. Not more grief, not more picking at the old wound. The truth, laid out in order, about what the something better actually was, why it fell, and what you are supposed to do while it does. The name they did not expect to meet again. Now we arrive at the part I have been holding back all night. The what, the who, the thing they left you for. Let me tell you what it really was underneath the story they told. It was not a person, not fundamentally, though there was a person in it. It was a feeling. It was the promise of intensity, heat without the work of keeping a fire, motion for the sake of motion. Everything you were not, dressed up as everything they had been missing. From the outside, it looked like more excitement, more novelty, more of whatever the flat gray morning in the paid-off house had convinced them they were owed. And here is the turn, chosen one. The turn is the whole reason you are still listening. The grass they ran toward was never greener. It was only closer to the fence, and it hid the thing they were actually starving for. And the thing they were starving for was you. Not your face, not your name. The thing you carried that they could not name until they were standing knee-deep in the loss of it. They were starving for still water. That is the name they did not expect to meet again. Still water. It is what you were, chosen one, the whole time you were together, though nobody at that table ever called it by its right name. You were the calm they could set a whole life down on. You were the surface that did not thrash when the day went bad. You were the deep, quiet steadiness that a person can drink from every single morning without ever thinking about the well. And because still water does not perform, because it does not splash or shout or demand to be admired, they mistook it for boredom. They looked at the calmest, most nourishing thing in their life, and they called it flat. They left still water, and they went chasing the white water, because white water looks alive. Let me tell you what white water actually is, for anyone who has never been in it. It is loud, it is fast, it is thrilling for about a minute, and it holds no one. You cannot rest on it. You cannot drink from it. It will choke you if you try. You cannot build a life beside it, because it changes its own banks overnight and takes the ground out from under whatever it touches. Whitewater is exciting precisely because it is dangerous. And it is dangerous precisely because there is nothing steady in it anywhere. The very quality that made it feel like an upgrade, the churn, the drama, the constant motion, is the quality that guarantees it cannot last. They did not know that yet, the day they dove in. They thought they had traded a dull pond for a wild river and won. They were sure the stillness they left behind was the poverty, and the churn ahead of them was the wealth. They had it exactly backwards, and there is no way to know you have it backwards until the river has already carried you somewhere you cannot climb out of. And here is the trap inside the trap, chosen one, the part that finishes them slowly. They will try, eventually, to make the white water hold still. Once the thrill wears thin and the exhaustion sets in, they will start reaching for the very calm they threw away, but reaching for it in the wrong place, from the wrong person. They will begin asking the churn to be a lake. They will ask the exciting one to suddenly become steady, to be a floor, to be a place to rest, to be, in other words, you. And it cannot be done. You cannot ask the rapids to become still water. That is not what the rapids are. They chose the white water precisely because it was everything you were not, and now they are furious at it for not being you. They left the still water because it was too calm, and now they are drowning in a thing they are begging, too late, to please be calm. There is no crueler mirror than that, and they are standing in front of it every single day. Think of a person who lives their whole life beside a deep, quiet lake. Every morning it is there, flat and clear and cold, giving back the sky. And they grow tired of the sameness of it, the unremarkable peace, the way it never surprises them. So they leave it for the coast, for the crash and spray of the surf, for the drama of a thing that never stops moving. And for a while, the surf thrills them, but you cannot drink the sea. You cannot still your reflection in it. You cannot ever, once, find yourself in a surface that violent. And one day, salted and exhausted and unable to remember the last time they saw their own face looking back at them, they think of the lake, the flat, boring, faithful lake that asked nothing and gave everything, and would have given it forever. You are the lake, chosen one. You were always the lake. Here is what they cannot say to a single living soul. I left the only water I could actually drink because it did not frighten me enough to feel like love. So no, chosen one, You were not the thing they moved beyond. You were the thing they were too unformed to know how to keep. And they have just now heard the name of what they let go of, spoken back to them by its absence. And a name like that, once you finally hear it, you cannot unhear. The collapse they cannot explain. Before I show you the falling, chosen one, I have to show you the show. Because for a long stretch, from the outside, the new thing looked flawless. That is the part that used to sting you the most, if you are honest. In the low hours when you let yourself look. It looked like they had been right. It looked bright and enviable and alive. There were pictures, maybe, if you ever let yourself see them. There were the reports that reached you sideways of how happy, how free, how much better everything was now. It looked from the road exactly like the upgrade they promised it would be. Understand what you were actually looking at. You were looking at a performance staged specifically to be seen. Nobody photographs the silences. Nobody posts the argument at 2 a.m, the third one that week about the same unfixable thing. What reaches the outside is the curated half-second, the highlight held up to the window precisely because the room behind it was getting harder to be inside. The louder the display of happiness, chosen one, the heavier the thing it is working to cover. People at peace do not need an audience for their peace. It is the ones standing on a cracking floor who spend the most energy convincing the neighbors the floor is fine. And the cracks were there early, long before anyone outside was allowed to see them. Small ones at first, the kind that are easy to explain away. A coldness that came a little too soon. A familiar frustration surfacing in a brand new house. A quiet realization, quickly buried, that the thing they ran toward had brought its own weather with it. They papered over those cracks with more intensity, more motion, more proof of happiness aimed at the outside world. Because to stop and look at the cracks honestly would have meant looking at the leaving honestly. And that was the one thing they could not afford to do. So they performed harder. And a crack you refuse to look at does not heal. It waits. It widens in the dark behind the fresh paint, patient as winter. You were never seeing a happy life, chosen one. You were seeing the outside of a house whose owners had already started sleeping in separate rooms. And now watch what the cracks became when there was finally no more paint left to spread over them. Now watch the thing come apart, because the way it fell is the proof of everything I have told you tonight, and the proof arrives with a cruelty they did not see coming. It did not fail from some new exotic disaster. That is the part they cannot get past. It did not end because of some drama nobody could have predicted. It failed from the inside, from the ordinary places, and, here is the blade of it, chosen one, it failed in exactly the ways they used to complain to you about. The very grievances they carried out the door, the little list of everything you supposedly were, came back to them in the new house wearing a bigger face and sharper teeth. Let me be specific, because you have earned specific. They used to say you were distant, that you did not open up enough, did not share enough of the inside of yourself. Now watch what they got. A person so busy performing their own intensity that there was no inside at all to be let into. A locked room with the lights on and nobody home. They used to say you were too routine, too predictable, too calm. Now watch what they got. Chaos they could not schedule around, a life with no floor, a partner who called instability freedom and made the ground move every time they tried to stand up. Everything they blamed on you, they now have in full. Except that with you, it was a small, quiet complaint, and with this, it is the whole climate. Because here is the mechanism they never understood, chosen one. You were not the source of the small frustrations. You were the thing keeping them small. The steadiness they resented was the exact force holding every other problem down to a manageable size. Remove the steady one from a life, and you do not get freedom. You get every latent problem, suddenly ungoverned, rising all at once, because the thing that used to quietly absorb them is gone. They pulled out the keystone and blamed the arch for falling. Think of a house with one calm, competent person in it. Nobody praises that person. Nobody notices the bills paid on time, the tempers cooled before they caught fire, the 1,000 small collapses quietly prevented before anyone else even knew they were coming. The house just runs, and everyone in it assumes the smoothness is the natural state of houses. Then that person leaves. And within a season, the same house is a place of small fires, the ones that used to get put out before dawn, now burning openly because the person who carried the water walked out the door, and everyone finally learns, too late, that the calm was not the weather. The calm was labor. The calm was a person. The calm was you. That is what collapsed, chosen one. Not a relationship exactly. A fantasy that could only stand as long as your steadiness was somewhere in the world holding up the sky it was standing under. The moment they had to generate the stability themselves from two people who chose each other precisely for their shared appetite for the storm, the whole thing had nothing to stand on. Two people who both wanted to be the exciting one, and neither of whom knew how to be the still water, drowning in the exact churn they thought they were choosing. Here is the sentence they will spend a long time not saying. Everything I accused you of, I found waiting for me, 10 times larger, in the thing I left you for. And, chosen one, notice the mercy in this, because there is one. You do not have to say a word. You do not have to point at it or explain it or make your case to anyone. The collapse is doing your speaking for you in a language no one can argue with, written in the ordinary breakdown of a thing that was never built to hold weight. You were vindicated without lifting a finger, without breaking your dignity, without ever once climbing down off your rock. So, no, you were not the problem they escaped. You were the solution they didn't know they had. And they are learning the difference now, in real time, in a house with no calm person in it. They have nowhere to stand now. Here is where it gets quieter and truer, and where I need you to stop thinking about them for a moment and start thinking about the strange corner they have painted themselves into. Because they cannot come back. Not really. And they cannot stay gone clean either. They are stuck in the one place a person never wants to be, standing in the ruins of the thing they chose over you, with no story left that makes them the hero of it. Think about what a person needs in order to leave someone and feel right about it. They need a reason. They need the leaving to mean something, to point at a flaw in the one they left, so the guilt has somewhere to go. For a while, they had that. You were the boring one, the safe one, the ceiling. The story held its shape as long as the new thing kept looking like the upgrade. Their whole justification was propped up on one single beam, and the beam was this. It was worth it. The leaving was worth what it cost. And now, the beam is gone. The new thing collapsed. And it did not just collapse, it collapsed in the precise way that proves the leaving was never an upgrade at all. Which means every reason they gave, to you, to their friends, to the mirror, has quietly turned to smoke. They have no cover. There is no version of the story left where they were the wise one who escaped a lesser life. There is only a person who held warm bread in their hands and set it down to go chasing the smell of something cooking 2 houses over, and came back to find the bread gone and the other kitchen burned to the ground. Picture someone who threw a heavy coat into the fire in the middle of July. It was summer. The coat felt like a burden, hot and unnecessary, a weight they were tired of carrying. And it felt good, for a moment, to be free of it, to watch the thing they resented go up in flame. But you know what season is always coming, chosen one. It is coming for them now, and there is no store open on that road, and no coat to be bought, and the one they burned was the only one that ever fit them. They do not get to be cold and also right. They have to pick one, and the weather has already picked for them. That is what I mean when I say they have nowhere to stand. Not that they are punished. This was never about punishment, and I want you to hear that clearly. This is not a night about revenge, and you are not a person who needs someone else's winter to feel warm. It is simpler and sadder than punishment. They are a person who traded the real thing for the shiny thing, watched the shiny thing dissolve, and now has to live inside the full knowledge of what they did, without a single story that softens it. That is not a sentence anyone hands them. That is just the shape of the ground they chose to stand on, and the ground gave way. And notice the loneliest part of the corner they are standing in, chosen one. They cannot even grieve it out loud. Think about that. When most people lose something, they get to mourn, they get to be held, they get sympathy poured over the wound. But they cannot ask for any of that, because to openly mourn the collapse would be to confess that the leaving was a mistake. And confessing that would pull down the last wall they have left to hide behind. So they have to perform being fine about the ending of a thing they were performing being happy about. A second performance stacked on the first, both of them exhausting, neither of them true. They are carrying a real loss with no permission to call it a loss. That is a specific kind of alone that you, chosen one, never had to feel. Because when you grieved something real, and you grieved it honestly. And honest grief actually heals. Performed grief just festers. Here is the line they will carry to the end and never once say aloud. I was not set free by leaving. I was only made lighter by setting down the one thing that was holding me up. And notice, chosen one, what this asks of you. Nothing. It asks nothing of you. You do not have to forgive them tonight, and you do not have to hate them either. You do not have to do anything with this except understand it, so that the old question, was I not enough, can finally lie down and stop haunting the middle of your nights. You were enough. You were, in fact, the whole foundation. They are the ones standing in the rubble, learning what a foundation is by its absence. So no, chosen one, you were not left because you were lacking. You were left because they mistook the foundation for a cage. And only a person standing in open air with the roof gone finally understands the difference. Walk on. You were the ground all along. Now come back to yourself, chosen one, because this last part is not about them at all. This part is only about you, and it is the reason I called you here in the first place. There is a door, and I need to talk to you about it before we finish. It is the door back to that person, back to that whole chapter. And right about now, if you are like most people who are hearing this, that door has started to look interesting again. Because there is a particular temptation that comes exactly at this moment. When the one who left watches their upgrade fall apart, some quiet voice in you starts to whisper that maybe now they see, maybe now they've learned, maybe now it could be different. Maybe now you could finally be chosen the way you always deserved. Chosen one, hear me. Do not open that door. Not out of pride, not out of revenge. Out of something much more important. The simple recognition of what you actually are. You are not a fallback. You are not the place a person lands when the exciting thing crashes. You are not the safe harbor that exists to be remembered only in the storm and forgotten again the moment the water calms. A person who ran toward the white water and nearly drowned does not get to swim back and treat the lake as a consolation. The lake was never the lesser thing. The lake was the whole time the better thing. And a person who could not see that on a clear day will not truly see it just because they are wet and frightened now. Here is what I actually want you to notice tonight, and it is not the collapse behind them. It is the ground under your own 2 feet. Look down. You are still standing. Through the leaving, through the silence, through the long stretch where you were sure you were the one who lost, you never once fell. You kept your light on your own rock. You built a quiet life back up around yourself without an audience to applaud it. The still water did not go anywhere. It is still deep, still clear, still yours, and it does not owe its calm to anyone who once called it boring. Think of a tree that grows right at the edge of the water, the kind of tree that has stood through storms that took down flashier trees all around it. It does not grow fast. It does not put on a show. It just puts its roots down, year after year, into the deep and steady ground beside the deep and steady water, and it holds. Storms come and go. Some things get uprooted and carried off downriver in the churn, gone by morning, and the tree by the still water is simply still there when the sun comes up, a little taller, a little deeper, having turned another season of hardship into another ring of rooted, unbothered strength. Nobody carved its name into anything. It just kept standing, because standing was what it was built to do. You are that tree, chosen one. You always were. And the ones who got carried off in the white water are not a verdict on you. They are the contrast that finally lets you see your own roots. And let me tell you something about the road ahead of you, because I do not want you to leave here thinking the still water is a thing to be pitied or spent alone. There are people in this world who know exactly what calm is worth. They are rarer than the ones who chased the churn, and they are quieter, and they do not announce themselves at parties, but they exist. And when one of them finds still water, they do not call it boring. They kneel down beside it, and they are grateful, the way a person is grateful for clean water after a long time in the salt. The one who could not tell the difference was never the last person who would ever see you, chosen one. They were only the person who taught you, at real cost, the difference between being wanted for your excitement and being cherished for your peace. The next set of eyes that finds you may already know how to read still water on sight. And you will know them too, because they will not try to stir you up to feel alive. They will sit down beside your calm and finally exhale, the way a person exhales when they have come home. But even that, chosen one, is not the point of tonight. The point of tonight is that you do not need anyone to arrive in order to be whole. The lake does not wait to be admired before it decides to be deep. You are already complete water. Anyone worth keeping will simply be lucky to drink. Here is the last thing they will never say, and the first thing I want you to say to yourself tonight before you sleep. The steady one was never the small one. The steady one was the strong one the whole time, and the strength was so quiet that even they could not see it until it was gone. So no, chosen one, no, you did not lose. No, you were not the lesser chapter in someone else's story. No, you are not waiting by a door for a person to come to their senses. You are the still water. You are the ground that held. You are the lake, the lighthouse, the tree, the calm that turned out to be the whole quiet engine keeping a life from falling apart. And you did not need them to notice that in order for it to have always been true. So we come to the end of it. Somewhere tonight, the one who left you is sitting in the ruins of the something better, running back through it, trying to find the exact wrong turn, and coming up empty, because there was no single turn. There was only a long, slow walk away from still water, taken one confident step at a time by a person who could not yet tell the difference between calm and boredom, between a foundation and a cage, between the thing that thrills you and the thing that holds you. Let them sit with it, chosen one. Their understanding does not reach you anymore. It cannot unleave you, and it should not be allowed to unstill your water. You do not have to do a thing with their new clarity. You do not have to answer it, receive it, or reward it. You only have to notice that you are still here, roots down, light on, standing exactly where a person who loved you could always have found you if they had only known what they were holding. Picture the water at first light, flat and clear and cold, giving back the whole sky. The churn is somewhere far downstream, exhausting itself against banks it keeps tearing down. And here, where you are, nothing thrashes. The surface holds your reflection, unbroken, the way it always could have for someone who knew how to sit beside it and be still. That water was never the poverty, chosen one. It was always the wealth. It just does not announce itself, and it never needed to. No, you did not waste those years. No, you were not the one who lost the trade. The years taught you how to be the one thing almost nobody learns how to be. The calm in a loud world, the deep in a shallow season, the ground that does not move when everything on top of it is trying to. Here is the sentence they will spend a long time refusing to say. The better thing was standing still the whole time. And I called it home once, and I did not know what I had. So do not turn back toward the door. Do not stand at the fence looking for a face that finally learned to see you. The seeing is theirs to do or not do, and it was never the thing you were waiting on. What you were waiting on was permission to know your own worth. And I am telling you tonight, you never needed the permission. You are the still water. You are the one who stayed standing. And the person who could not tell the difference was never the upgrade. They were only the long, hard lesson that taught you, finally, what you were made of. Look down at the ground under you one more time. It held. It is still holding. It will hold every step you take from here, quietly, the way it always has. You are still standing, chosen one. That is not a small thing. That is the whole thing. The water is calm. Go and be still beside it. If this one reached you tonight, leave a like so it finds the next person sitting in that same dark, and subscribe so the mission keeps moving toward them. And chosen one, the water is still there, and it is yours. Go home to it.